Hi, good day everyone. I'm Sian from Group 25, and today I will be representing my group to share the project that we have done for the ABF507 Economic Insight, and our title is actually Effects of Tariff on GDP. Now I will start by the introduction first. So the returns of the Donald Trump to the US presidency in year 2025 has actually brought the tariff back to the spotlight, and not in a good way, because his previous terms show the bonds move like the US and China trade war in year 2018, and which turned the global trade into something resembling a heavyweight boxing match. Now Trump is actually back with his plan for round 2, which he will integrate a higher tariff. First, he will including a universal baseline tariff and also a reciprocal taxes on the country that tax US exports. So these policies actually could shake up the global trade yet again with the ripple effects on the economic growth, inflation, and also the international relations. And this study will be focuses on the three major global economies in this world, which is the United States, China, and also Japan. And by combining these countries, this research actually aims to identify the strategy for balancing the economic stability with the global competitiveness, providing insights for the policymakers to navigate the challenges of tariff-related disruption while also promoting the sustainable growth of the GDP. Now we will be moving on to the second chapter, which is literature review. As you can see, our dependent variable is actually GDP, gross domestic product. It actually reflects the total monetary value of the goods and also the services produced in a country during a specific period, and usually is by 1 year, and it will serve as the key indicators of the economic strength and also performance. And there are 4 independent variables in our study. The first one is trade tariff. So the tariff are actually taxes on the import and also export, aimed at regulating the trade and also protecting the domestic industry. And the second independent variables will be FDI, foreign direct investment. So the FDI actually includes long and also short-term capital inflows. It often accompanied by the knowledge and also the technical transfer from overseas. And the third independent variable will be inflation. Inflation actually measures the rate of the price increase over the time. And the last independent variables will be the unemployment rates. Unemployment actually measures the proportions of people actively seeking but they unable to find a job. And after our review of the literature, we actually come up with this proposed framework, and our chapter 3 is methodology. And this is our proposed empirical model, which we actually developed from our framework in the chapter 2. In terms of the methods and also technique that used for analysis, this study will actually employ the ordinary least square OLS regression method, and it is a widely used approach for estimating the relationship between a dependent variables and one or more independent variables. And this study will also consistently transform all the variables into the base 10 logarithmic forms, where in terms of the scope of study, this study will examine 3 major economies, which is US, China, and Japan, from 2018 to 2022, a 5-year periods. And also all the data that we have collected is actually obtained from the World Bank indicator. This can ensure that our data is reliable and also valid. And now we'll be moving on to chapter 4, analysis. And our first analysis for this study is descriptive analysis. As you can see from the table, our mean of all the variables is falling within the range from 0.4207 to 13.0783. And moving on to the next analysis, which is correlations analysis. So in general terms, the correlations with a value that is below 0.7 will not be considered as problematic in terms of multicollinearity, because they are indicating a moderate or a weak relationship between the variables. But unfortunately, in our study, we actually found that certain R value is too high. So to avoid any multicollinearity issue, we have actually conducted the VIF test, which will be discussed in later slide. This slide is showing the VIF value that we have tested. So the VIF value is the reciprocal of tolerance, and it quantifies the square increase in the standard error due to collinearity. There might be a possible collinearity problems when your VIF value is more than 5. However, if you look at the diagrams, we are actually having the acceptable VIF value, which the smallest one is the inflation with 0.048, and the highest one is the FDI with 4.523. So I would say that there is no multicollinearity issues in our study. The next analysis will be model summary, which will be looking into the R-square value. The R-square is actually measuring the goodness of faith, It's showing how well the regression line will fit the data. As you can see from the table, our R-square value is 0.965. This indicates that the regression models in our study actually explain 96.5% of the GDP variations, with left only the remaining 3.5% is unexplained factors. The next test, ANOVA analysis. ANOVA analysis is a method that provides a statistical test for the overall model fits in terms of the F ratio. You can see from the table, the regression equations is actually significance with F value of 0.6132 and the significance level of 0. Or smaller than 0.001. And our last test is the regressions analysis, which will be looking into the significance levels of our independent variables. When your p-value is smaller than 0.001, it will indicate a very strong evidence with a 99.9% confidence levels. And when your p-value is smaller than 0.05, it will reflect a moderate evidence with a 95% confidence levels. And when your p-value is smaller than 0.1, it will showing a significance but a bit weaker with the evidence of 90% of confidence levels. As you can see in the tables, our independent variables of FDI, tariff, and unemployment are within the significance levels regardless their confidence levels. However, the inflation independent variables seems to have insignificant relationship towards the GDP. And finally, we will come to our last section, which is conclusion. Based on our research finding, we have actually come up with few recommendations and also implications that the policymaker could refer to. The first one is to reduce the tariff. By lowering the tariff, it can prevent the retaliatory trade measures, enhance the global integrations, and also reduce the customer costs. So the government should actually prioritize the innovations and also competitiveness over the protectionism policies. The second policy is to promote FDI. The government should offer the incentive like tax reductions and other regulatory support to attract the investment of technology, renewable energy, and also manufacturing. It can also encourage the partnership between the foreign and also the local firms for the technology transfer and resource sharing. And the third recommendation should be supporting the local industry and also the workforce. The government should invest in the capacity building programs such as technical training and R&D to boost the competitiveness of local firms, and they can create incentive to retain the talent and also adapt to the global market demand. And the last recommendation will be encourage innovations. They should focus on the high-tech industry to foster the job creations and also economic expansion, particularly in those urbanized areas. And they should align the educations and also skill development with the emerging industry needs. And that's all from us. Thank you for listening.